From reality TV moguls to crypto power players, from shipbuilders to the Queen of Beer herself, the Netherlands is home to billionaires whose influence stretches far beyond their borders. These aren't just fortunes measured in numbers. They're empires that shape what we watch, where we shop, how we pay, and even what we drink. Some built their wealth in silence, controlling warehouses, factories, and real estate. Others changed the world with creativity, technology, or global brands. Together, they represent the industries that keep the Dutch economy thriving: media, manufacturing, logistics, fintech, and brewing. Today, we'll reveal the 10 richest Dutch billionaires, starting from the bottom and climbing to the very top, to uncover who truly controls the Dutch economy. In the number 10 position, we have John de Mol, a man who proved that television could be more than just entertainment. It could be a goldmine. If you've ever watched Big Brother or The Voice, you've seen the fingerprints of his empire. These shows didn't just captivate Dutch audiences, they traveled across the globe, turning simple concepts into billion-dollar franchises. De Mol understood something most media executives missed. People crave stories they can step into, dramas they can feel part of, and competitions that mirror their own dreams and struggles. His career began humbly in Dutch television, but John quickly saw the power of intellectual property. By co-founding Endemol, he transformed television into an export business, selling Dutch creativity to networks in America, Europe, and Asia. Every time a new season of one of his shows airs somewhere in the world, a flow of royalties comes back to the Netherlands. That steady stream of revenue built his fortune and cemented his influence in the media industry. But de Mol didn't stop at production. Through his company, Talpa, he expanded into broadcasting, radio, and digital ventures, making sure he had control not just over the content, but also over the platforms delivering it. This level of integration means he isn't just a creator, he's a gatekeeper, shaping what millions watch, listen to, and even talk about. Today, John de Mol's fortune is measured in billions, but his true power lies in shaping culture. His shows have created global stars, influenced how reality TV is produced, and even impacted social conversations about fame, competition, and human behavior. For the Dutch economy, de Mol represents the influence of media exports, an industry where creativity becomes commerce, and where a single idea can generate wealth across generations. In the number 9 position, we have Leslie Bamberger, a man who rarely makes headlines, but whose influence is felt every time you walk through the bustling, shopping streets of Amsterdam. He is the owner of Kroonenberg Group, one of the most powerful real estate empires in the Netherlands. While John de Mol builds wealth through screens, Bamberger builds it with bricks, glass, and steel, the kind of wealth that towers over cities and quietly collects rent while most people go about their daily lives. His fortune was inherited from his father, but Leslie didn't just sit back and enjoy the ride. Instead, he expanded the family business into a juggernaut of shopping centers, office complexes, and luxury residential spaces. In Amsterdam alone, he controls properties on the iconic Kalverstraat, one of the most expensive retail streets in the country. When global brands like Apple, Nike, or Zara want prime locations, they negotiate with him. That makes Bamberger not just a landlord, but a gatekeeper of commerce. What makes his power so fascinating is its invisibility. Unlike the glitz of tech or the buzz of media, real estate is silent. But every lease he signs impacts jobs, taxes, and consumer spending. His investments ripple through the Dutch economy, shaping which neighborhoods thrive, which businesses succeed, and how much people pay for their favorite goods. Despite sitting on billions, Bamberger avoids the limelight. He doesn't crave celebrity status, and you won't find him hosting flashy interviews. Instead, he lets his buildings speak for him. Every tower and shopping district in his portfolio is a reminder that real wealth isn't always loud. Sometimes it's carved into the very streets we walk every day. Leslie Bamberger may not be a household name like Heineken or de Mol, but his grip on the Dutch economy is firm. After all, people can choose what to watch or which beer to drink, but they can't escape paying rent, or walking through the doors of the spaces he owns. In the number 8 position, we have Raleigh Van Rappard, the man who mastered the art of turning money into more money, often without anyone outside the boardroom noticing. As the co-founder of CVC Capital Partners, one of the world's most influential private equity firms, Van Rappard built his fortune by buying companies, reshaping them, and selling them for staggering profits. His story isn't about fame or flashy brands. It's about quiet control over industries that millions of people interact with every day, from supermarkets and sports to consumer goods. Private equity may sound like a world of spreadsheets and negotiations, but in reality, it's power at its purest form. When Van Rappard's firm takes over a company, everything can change. The strategy, the workforce, even the prices that customers see on shelves. He has had stakes in household names ranging from Formula One racing to retailers and food giants. This means that while most people don't know his name, they've felt the ripple effects of his decisions at the checkout counter or in the entertainment they consume. What sets Van Rappard apart is his ability to spot opportunity in places others overlook. He built CVC into a global powerhouse with billions under management by taking risks where others hesitated. That sharp instinct transformed him from a banker into a billionaire, and from a dealmaker into a gatekeeper of industries. In the Dutch economy, his influence represents the hidden side of wealth. Unlike a brewer, a media mogul, or a real estate tycoon, Van Rappard's power isn't tied to one brand. Instead, it shifts depending on where the next deal lands. It's flexible, strategic, and always evolving. Raleigh Van Rappard shows us that, in the modern world, some of the richest people aren't the ones with their names on products. They're the ones pulling strings behind the curtain, deciding which companies rise, which fall, and how capital flows across borders. His empire may be invisible to most, but its impact is impossible to ignore. In the number 7 position, we have Rotterdam, the man whose empire floats on water yet anchors one of the Netherlands' proudest industries. Shipbuilding. As chairman of the Damen Shipyards Group, he transformed a modest family business into one of the largest maritime companies in the world. His story isn't about yachts for the ultra-rich, though he builds those too. It's about vessels that power economies, defend nations, and keep global trade moving. The Damen Group produces everything from sleek super yachts to rugged workboats, ferries, and naval ships. That means Damen's influence stretches from luxury marinas in Monaco to harbors in Africa and naval bases in Europe. When governments award contracts for defense fleets, or when companies expand logistics by sea, chances are Rotterdam's shipyards are involved. Every deal sustains thousands of jobs, not only in the Netherlands, but across partner yards worldwide, reinforcing the Dutch reputation for maritime excellence. What makes Damen's rise fascinating is the blend of tradition and innovation. He inherited the business in the 1960s, but pushed it to the global stage by standardizing ship designs, a radical idea at the time. Instead of building each vessel from scratch, Damen created modular designs that cut costs, sped up delivery, and attracted international clients. It was a strategy that turned a family yard into a multinational giant. For the Dutch economy, Damen's success means more than billions in revenue. It represents industrial pride in a nation historically defined by its relationship with the sea. From the Golden Age merchants to modern shipyards, the Netherlands has always thrived on maritime trade. Rotterdam carries that legacy into the 21st century, showing how one industry leader can shape global waters. Rotterdam's wealth may be tied to steel and waves, but his true impact is measured in influence. Fleets launched, contracts won, and a maritime empire that ensures the Netherlands remains a power at sea. In the number 6 position, we have Pieter van der Does, the man who quietly reinvented the way money moves online. As the co-founder and CEO of Adyen, he built a financial empire that powers payments for some of the biggest companies on earth, from Netflix and Spotify to Uber and eBay. If you've ever bought a subscription, ordered a ride, or checked out online without a hitch, chances are you've used Adyen without even realizing it. That invisible presence is exactly what makes Pieter's wealth and influence so remarkable. Unlike traditional bankers, van der Does understood early on that the future of payments had to be fast, seamless, and borderless. He created Adyen as a single global platform, one system capable of processing transactions across dozens of countries and currencies. For merchants, that meant lower costs, better insights, and more reliability. For Peter, it meant building one of the most valuable fintech companies in Europe, with a market cap that propelled him into the billionaire ranks. But what sets him apart isn't just the size of Adyen, it's the philosophy behind it. Peter van der Does has always emphasized long-term vision over short-term profit. While other tech giants chase flashy launches or risky acquisitions, Adyen focused on perfecting its core product and serving its clients with relentless efficiency. That discipline built trust with global brands, and trust in finance translates directly into money. In the Dutch economy, van der Does symbolizes the rise of fintech as a powerhouse industry. The Netherlands, long known for trade and shipping, now exports something different: financial technology. And Peter sits at the helm of that transformation, steering how trillions in transactions are handled every year. Peter van der Does may not have the public image of a celebrity CEO, but his impact is profound. He turned the checkout button into a global empire, proving that sometimes the greatest fortunes are made not in the spotlight, but in the quiet efficiency of every successful transaction. In the number 5 position, we have Arnout Scheuf, the man who wrote the digital DNA of Adyen. While Peter van der Does became the public face of the company, Scheuf was the quiet genius behind the code. The architect who built the platform that now processes billions in payments for the world's biggest brands. His story proves that in the age of technology, true wealth can be crafted not from factories or ships, but from lines of code that power the modern economy. Arnout began his career in technology with a passion for building systems that solve real-world problems. When he co-founded Adyen in 2006, his vision was simple yet revolutionary: create one global payment system that could replace the messy patchwork of local solutions. Instead of merchants juggling dozens of providers for credit cards, mobile payments, and online platforms, Adyen would unify it all. Scheuf's engineering brilliance made that vision a reality. By designing Adyen as a single, streamlined platform, he gave merchants a powerful advantage. They could enter new markets faster, analyze customer behavior more effectively, and reduce costs. It was a technical masterpiece disguised as simplicity. And as online commerce exploded, so did Adyen's value, turning Scheuf into a billionaire almost overnight when the company went public. Yet Arnout remained a rare figure in the billionaire class. He avoided the spotlight, rarely gave interviews, and kept his lifestyle modest compared to many tech tycoons. His focus was on building, not boasting. Even after stepping down from an active role, the foundations he created continue to fuel Adyen's global dominance. For the Dutch economy, Arnout Scheuf represents the quiet power of innovation. His work may not be visible on billboards or storefronts, but it touches millions of people every day when they tap a card, click Buy Now, or subscribe online. His fortune is proof that sometimes the most valuable empires are built in silence, with precision, and with a vision that outlives its creator's day-to-day presence. In the number 4 position, we have the van der Leegte family, the industrial dynasty behind VDL Group, one of the Netherlands' most powerful manufacturing empires. While other billionaires built fortunes in finance or tech, the van der Leegtes kept their wealth grounded in the factory floor, in steel, engines, and the machines that keep entire economies running. Their story is one of persistence, family unity, and the ability to adapt across generations. The roots of VDL go back to the 1950s, when Wim van der Leegte transformed a small metalworking business into a diversified industrial powerhouse. Over the decades, the group expanded into dozens of sectors: buses, cars, high-tech systems, and specialized components used across industries. At its height, VDL was producing buses that carried thousands of commuters daily and car parts that fed global automotive supply chains. It became a cornerstone of Dutch manufacturing, employing tens of thousands and keeping the southern regions of the country buzzing with industrial life. What makes the family remarkable is their refusal to let outside investors dilute their control. Even as VDL grew into a multinational operation with revenues in the billions, the van der Leegtes kept it family-owned. ensuring stability and long-term vision rather than chasing quick profits. After Wim's passing, leadership passed to his children, proving that this was not just a company, but a legacy carefully handed down. Their wealth is tied not only to products, but also to resilience. VDL has weathered global recessions, supply chain crises, and the shifts toward electric mobility. Instead of collapsing under pressure, the group adapted, launching electric buses, entering new markets, and reinforcing its role as a backbone of Dutch industry. For the Dutch economy, the Van der Leet family represents the industrial heart that still beats beneath modern fintech and media empires. Their factories may not attract headlines, but they provide jobs, innovation, and stability, the kind of wealth that strengthens a nation from the inside out. In the number 3 position we have Raymond Vos, the billionaire whose empire doesn't glitter like gold or shine on TV screens, but instead stretches across fields and highways in the form of massive warehouses. As the founder and CEO of CTP, one of Europe's largest industrial and logistics real estate developers, Vos built his fortune on the backbone of global commerce, storage and distribution. His story is proof that sometimes the most unglamorous assets create the greatest wealth. Vos started in the 1990s when e-commerce was barely a concept and logistics parks were viewed as boring investments. But he had the foresight to see what others didn't. As globalization accelerated, companies would need vast networks of modern warehouses close to highways, rail lines, and borders. By buying land and building at scale, he positioned CTP to dominate a sector that would later explode with the rise of online shopping and just-in-time delivery. Today, CTP's footprint spans Central and Eastern Europe, with logistics parks that house factories, storage hubs, and distribution centers for some of the world's largest companies. Every package delivered, every product shipped, and every assembly line supplied in those regions carries a trace of Vos's influence. In an age where speed defines success, his warehouses are the infrastructure that keeps Europe moving. What sets Raymond Vos apart is his relentless expansion. He didn't just stick to the Netherlands. He built across emerging markets where others saw risk. That boldness turned CTP into a multi-billion-dollar giant, with Vos himself reaping a fortune that placed him among the Netherlands' richest. For the Dutch economy, Raymond Vos symbolizes the shift from traditional trade to modern logistics. He may not sell the goods or make the products, but his empire ensures they get to the right place, at the right time. Without him, shelves stay empty, factories slow down, and e-commerce loses its speed. Raymond Vos shows that in the 21st century, control of warehouses is control of the economy, and he holds the keys to some of the largest doors in Europe. In the number 2 position, we have Jean-Louis van der Velde, a Dutch-born billionaire who operates in one of the most volatile, fast-moving arenas of wealth, cryptocurrency. While most people recognize names like Bitcoin or Ethereum, few know the man behind Tether, the world's largest stablecoin, and Bitfinex, one of the globe's leading crypto exchanges. Van der Velde is one of those shadow figures who built his fortune not by being flashy, but by controlling the rails on which digital money flows. Tether is a stablecoin pegged to the US dollar, designed to provide stability in a market known for wild swings. It became the bridge between traditional finance and the digital economy. Traders, investors, and even businesses use it daily to move billions without waiting days for bank transfers. With Tether circulating in the trillions each year, van der Velde's influence extends across the entire crypto ecosystem, from small investors trying to protect their savings to institutions moving serious capital. But his empire doesn't stop at Tether. Through Bitfinex, one of the earliest and most controversial crypto exchanges, van der Velde has been a central figure in the rise of digital trading platforms. Critics have raised questions about transparency and regulation, yet the fact remains, his platforms dominate liquidity in crypto markets. When decisions are made about how Tether operates, it can send shockwaves across exchanges, token values, and even mainstream financial institutions exploring digital assets. For the Dutch economy, van der Velde represents a new kind of billionaire, one whose wealth is built on intangible assets, algorithms, and trust in code. Unlike real estate or factories, his empire exists in servers and wallets, but its impact is just as real. Every time someone uses stablecoins to trade, invest, or transfer money, his influence is felt. Jean-Louis van der Velde proves that in today's world, control of digital money can be as powerful as control of land, ships, or beer. He is the quiet architect of stability in an unstable market, and one of the richest Dutchmen alive. In the number one position we have Charlene de Carvalho Heineken, the undisputed queen of Dutch wealth and the face behind one of the world's most recognizable brands, Heineken. With a stake of nearly 25% in the brewing giant, she controls not just a company, but a global empire of taste, tradition, and culture. Wherever you go, from a bar in New York to a festival in Africa or a stadium in Asia, the green bottle with the red star is there, carrying with it the power and fortune of the Heineken dynasty. Charlene's path to the top was almost accidental. For much of her life, she lived quietly in London, raising her family away from the spotlight. But when her father, Freddie Heineken, passed away in 2002, she inherited his controlling stake. Overnight, she went from private citizen to one of the most powerful women in the global drinks industry. It wasn't just about wealth. It was about stewardship of a brand with 150 years of history, deeply tied to Dutch identity and global commerce. Under her influence, Heineken expanded aggressively, buying breweries across Africa, Asia, and Latin America, ensuring its dominance in emerging markets. Today, the company operates in more than 190 countries, making it not just a Dutch success story, but a global one. Every expansion deal, every marketing campaign, and every sponsorship from Formula One to Champions League football adds more weight to her fortune. What sets Charlene apart is her balance of tradition and progress. She has kept the family's legacy intact while steering Heineken into the future with sustainability initiatives, craft beer acquisitions, and bold global campaigns. Her fortune, valued at more than $15 billion, makes her not only the richest Dutch billionaire, but also one of the most influential women in business worldwide. For the Dutch economy, she represents soft power on a massive scale. Beer is more than a drink. It's culture, its jobs, its exports, and its identity. Through Heineken, Charlene de Carvalho, Heineken doesn't just sell beverages. She exports a piece of the Netherlands to the world. She stands as proof that some legacies don't just survive generations. They grow stronger, wealthier, and more iconic with each passing year.